Hey, it's John here from John Still Runs. Just about to go for a short walk up and down my driveway. I'm not quite sure how many metres I'll do. I've been walking between 300 and 400 metres. I might walk 500 metres today. We'll see. It's day 18 since I sprained my ankle. Let's turn that doorknob, as some runners would say, getting out the door for a walk. Yeah, I've been working a little bit as a physiotherapist. I had 2 days off, those first 2 days after the ankle sprain. So day 1 and day 2 of rehab were spent lying on the lounge mostly at home. By day 3 I could bear a little bit of weight on it and started wearing a moon boot for 3 or 4 days, might have been a little bit longer than that. And went to work by about day 5, hobbling around with the moon boot and trying to help the odd patient or two with their recovery from their injuries. After that I started wearing what I call a moon slipper, and because I couldn't get a shoe on my foot. The foot was swollen as well as the ankle and the lower leg. The actual diagnosis of the injury was a undisplaced fractured tip of fibula. My right lateral malleolus had a little crack in it, undisplaced, which means that it hadn't moved, it wasn't going anywhere unless I put undue stress on it, which I'm trying very hard not to. So I've just been weight bearing as I feel comfortable. Trying not to do too many steps in the day. I'm using my watch to record my number of steps. So the first, by about day 4, day 5, I was probably doing about 3,000 steps. And that's increased to about 7,000 steps per day. Here we go. I'll start this walk now, get my watch going. We're off. So I'm not looking at walking very fast or very far. I'm not sure if I'll do 500 metres or maybe even a kilometre. I'm walking at the moment with a bandage around my ankle just to give it a little bit of support, and wearing thongs instead of shoes. So walk up and down my very pleasant driveway where there's nice shrubs around, as you can see. You know, this injury that I sustained was my own fault. I really shouldn't have stepped off the side of the road as quickly as I did when I was running. So just to remind people, if you haven't heard my tale of woe, 18 days ago I was running along a fairly narrow road when a car was approaching and another car was actually coming up from behind at the same time. So, and in the quick estimation that you do, I knew that I would be roughly at the same point as those two cars crossing, and the car approaching me was, I figured, not going to go towards the centre of the road, avoiding me, and who knows, they might have been distracted or just not paying attention. So I stepped off the side of the road, actually ran off onto the grass to the right of me, and there was a hole, probably the only hole that was there. Actually, I think I might go back later and have a little look for that hole because I'm curious. I'll drive back, not run back. And how far have we got? I've gone 111 metres. 111 metres. Yeah, so that put my foot in a hole, turned my ankle, hurt a little crack, which at the time I thought might have been a ligament, probably the anterior talofibular ligament. didn't think that I'd broken a bone, but as it turned out I did. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So after hurting myself, I just sort of sat there on the ground. Actually felt woozy and faint, sat down on the ground, got my phone out and rang Janet, who was able to find me on Google Maps because I couldn't quite get out the words of where I was at the time. I think my blood pressure dropped or went up very high, one of the two. And then, yeah, she came and got me, brought me home. Immediate swelling, and within hours, significant bruising. So made sure I put some ice on it for the first few hours, cold pack. Yeah, interesting, the development of whether cold is good for injuries like this. It certainly is in the first few hours. You want to try and stem the internal bleeding, and one of the good ways of doing that is by constricting the small blood vessels with the use of cold temperature. Whether you need cold in the subsequent days, that's another story. Probably not, because you want to get blood flow going. But stop that initial internal bleeding, which I'm thankful I did. Also thankful that at the time I wasn't on any blood thinning medication, which I am now. And yeah, so after that, ice application. The next day, could not bear weight. Cancelled 2 days of patients, so it didn't work for 2 days. And then by the third day, I could put a little bit of weight, very painful to touch. So went to work on the Monday, which I think is day 5, probably a bit silly, but I needed to help people out. That was something I really enjoy doing as a physiotherapist. Yeah, so by the following week, Friday, I thought, well, maybe it's time I had an x-ray just to see what's there. And of course, a friend of mine helped me out, podiatrist friend, supplied me with a referral after I went and had a little short consultation with him. Thank you, Tim. And went and got the x-ray, and lo and behold, I've got a little fracture. So has that changed anything with my rehab? Well, actually no. And yes, I think a severe sprain and a small fracture can almost be treated the same way as long as that fracture is undisplaced. And in particular, which bone it is. So this is the fibula. Theoretically, it's a low weight-bearing bone. Doesn't bear much of your body weight, unlike the tibia, which bears heaps of weight. 300 metres so far, and feeling quite good. Slight ache in the ankle, but not too bad. So my rehab now is basically just to slowly increase my number of steps per day. Today I'm thinking I might do 5,000 or 6,000 steps. Yesterday I actually did a little bit of mowing, which just very slowly, very gently using a Ryobi electric mower, so it's not very heavy, and sat on the ride-on as well. That was interesting. Ran out of petrol and had to go back to the shed to buy some, to get some, walk it back to the mower, and had trouble starting the mower again. Back to the shed to get some oil, and then still wouldn't start. So then back to the shed to get a spark plug tool. Anyway, that's another story. We eventually got the mowing done. And how many steps are we up to now? 370. Let's see how we go on this, and then I'll tell you more about my rehab journey. So it's been quite a rehab journey this last couple of years since I developed atrial fibrillation of the heart, for which I'm having a cardiac ablation in 3 weeks' time. it's been quite a journey. And then about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I got shingles, which can affect old people like me. Yeah, so this is just another little blip in my running journey, and I'm hoping to get back to some decent running this year. Who knows? God knows, and I'm trusting Him that all will be well. Yeah, so I'm going to have the ablation in 3 weeks' time, and then see how that goes. There'll be some rest, of course, and then some walking, and then gradual running. My goal this year is to see if I can do park run in 25 minutes by the end of the year. But the main thing is to be healthy. And I think all our running goals, probably exercise goals in general, would be best aimed towards health and well-being, physical and mental. So I hope you've enjoyed our little chat with me walking up and down my driveway. I've done 880 metres. So the ankle's feeling a little bit sore, but not very sore. Possibly about a 1 out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10, but probably not even that compared to the 10 out of 10 pain I experienced when I first did it. So I think I might do another 100 metres and we'll see how we go. I'll report back later how the ankle feels on day 18 as I move through the rehab journey of which so many of my patients go through. So here we are, getting a little empathy for those that I treat as a physiotherapist. So that's all for now, and we'll catch you a little bit later. Have a good run today.